Welcome back. American and Ukrainian officials meeting today in Saudi Arabia following yesterday's ceasefire talks between the U.S. and Russia. Both countries reportedly releasing a joint statement sometime this morning, which we will bring you as soon as we get it. Joining me now is Fox News senior strategic analyst and the chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, General Jack Keane. General, great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, great to be here.
Before we get into the talks in Saudi Arabia, your reaction to this obvious mistake. A reporter was on the chat when they were talking about the Houthi strikes.
Well, yeah, it is what you described, an obvious mistake. I don't think there was any intention on the part of the national security team to intentionally include a reporter. That was a mistake that was made, and obviously they'll investigate it and clean it up. You know, for our audience to understand, I mean, Signal is a pretty good encrypted app, certainly, but the government and then certainly the national security team has their own classified encryption net called the zipper net, and that's how they communicate to each other. And I think they will likely conclude that maybe that's what they should have been on. The reporter would have no access to that whatsoever, no means to access anything like that. But nonetheless, mistake was made. The National Security Council has admitted that, and obviously they got to put in place some correction, make sure it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. And here's Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, on it yesterday. Watch this.
Talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
All right, nobody was texting war plans. General, I got to get your take on your thoughts on the meetings in Saudi Arabia. I mean, look, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has a strong message to Iran, warning it that it needs to give up its entire nuclear program or face consequences. Iran's foreign minister ruled out talks with the United States unless Washington changes its maximum pressure policy on Tehran. And state media reporting that the foreign minister is against the talks because of past history and experiences, not because of, quote, stubbornness. General, we've got two situations underway that are hot. You've got Iran, and it looks like the temperature is rising between Iran and the United States. And then, of course, you've got Russia and Ukraine, which we'll get to in a moment. Your reaction to the Iranian comments?
Well, certainly they seem to be pushing back on any thought of having some negotiations. And, I mean, where the president is on this, it's certainly less of a negotiation, to be frank about it, Maria. It's more of an ultimatum. It's what I call coercive diplomacy. He has told the Iranians he wants the program completely dismantled to include the delivery means in terms of ballistic missiles, their entire nuclear enterprise. And he wants it done by a date certain with verification by independent inspectors, less of a negotiation than a demand. And the reality is the alternative, he has told the supreme leader in a letter, is grave consequences. And we all know what that is. It's likely an Israeli-led airstrike supported by the United States to take down the nuclear enterprise. That is, I think, is where we are. And if the Iranians are serious about not wanting to voluntarily dismantle the program, it seems to me then what's going to happen is Israelis and the United States are going to dismantle it for them.
I mean, that is a big deal, General. I mean, if you were to see that actually take place, that the Israelis destroy the Iranian nuclear capabilities, what kind of a retribution, what kind of a response would you expect from Iran?
Well, just think about it. The Israelis just conducted a strike a few months ago inside of Iran and took out their missile and rocket manufacturing center. Supposedly 80% of their rockets and missiles and all their air defense systems, largely the S-300s from Russia. So Iran is defenseless. They have not responded to that strike, Maria. So what does that mean? It means that Israel has achieved deterrence. Iran is deterred from reattacking them. If we take down their nuclear enterprise, Iran doesn't have a lot of weapons left to be able to do something against the United States. Obviously, they have terrorism as an act that they always deploy. But in terms of conventional military means against the United States or our proxies, that is limited, to
Wow.
be sure. Would there be some kind of retaliation? Possibly. But what the Israelis have achieved is deterrence, and it's remarkable. And it certainly is on the minds of the leaders. Look at the air defense systems are not only not protecting the nuclear enterprise, they're not protecting the leaders in Iran as well.
Yeah,
so they
wow.
are very, very vulnerable, Maria.
Well, this is very significant, what we're talking about right now. This could be a huge game changer. So we'll be watching if something's close or happening soon to the Iranian situation. Now to Saudi Arabia, General. We know that U.S. and Ukrainian officials are talking about this war. I don't know. Should we be trusting President Vladimir Putin that he says he wants some ceasefire, but not a full ceasefire? Where is this going?
Well, I'm not sure. I think they may have, it seems like they've made some progress on a moratorium on firing at ships in the Black Sea. And that, if that takes place, obviously that's another step that is positive. It's certainly in Russia's interest. Ukraine has destroyed and damaged 28 Russian naval ships, and they have moved their naval Black Sea fleet out of their port in the Black Sea because of that reality. Think about that. Ukraine doesn't even have a navy, but they've largely done it with drones and other missiles. Quite an amazing achievement.
Sure
so
is.
this is on the back of Russia's mind. And what is this about? It's about getting grain out from Russia and also getting grain out from Ukraine. There are other commodities, to be sure, but that's the major commodity that they want to be able to ship and have it free of interference from either side.
You know,
I think they likely will get a deal on this.
Yep.
But whether Russia is serious about the 30-day ceasefire on the front line, that remains to be seen. And even more so, are they just delaying everything here because they truly don't want to go to a final peace agreement with the Ukrainians that certainly President Trump is trying to orchestrate here? I don't think we know that answer. And these negotiations begin to give us part of that answer.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting the way drones have taken such a prominent role in this war in Ukraine. And by the way, drones, generally speaking, throughout, even in the United States. Do you agree with me that that's very striking?
Yeah, most significant technological change in military warfare in decades.
Wow.
But Maria, there will be countermeasures to drones just like there is to any new weapon system. We're not just there yet. It'll likely be microwaves and laser-directed energy at these drones, and that will spread around the battlefield. But those capabilities are still in research and prototypes and not ready for full time yet.
All right, we will leave it there. General, great to talk with you this morning. We so appreciate it. Thanks very much for being here. Stay well. General Jack Keane.
Yeah, great talking to you, Maria.